Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Klaire and Aaron in the morning.
Not really, but
No, that's not what our show is called.
No, it's actually the Klaire and Aaron show.
Ah, the Klaire and Aaron show.
Yes.
That makes sense because I'm Claire Lockhart.
And I'm Aaron Packard.
And this is our show.
Yes, it is. Okay, so what is our show today? What are we talking about?
Today we're going to talk about my appreciation for very specific and long hashtags on the internets.
Yes, we are. And this is a hashtag you've been using for a little bit now.
Yes.
And it's gained a little bit of traction.
A wee bit.
A little bit. And it's now a sign in our front yard.
It is. I made a big political banner.
You did.
And it's 3 of those yard signs put together, and it's
Right.
2 lines of text because this hashtag is very long
It
and
is
very specific.
Very long. So we will start today's somewhat political episode with your hashtag.
Yes.
And it is hashtag
Vote for Biden, so my friend Claire can paint his presidential portrait. And
Okay.
through your magic of editing,
Well,
you'll pop that up.
That should have gone on the bottom. So let's try it again.
Okay.
Hashtag
Vote for Claire.
No.
Don't vote for me. I don't want that responsibility. Oh, goodness. No.
All right, let's try this. Okay. Hashtag
Vote for Biden so my friend Claire can paint his presidential portrait.
Yes. Okay.
I almost screwed up my own hashtag.
You almost did.
That was embarrassing.
That's kind of fun. I enjoyed that little flub. So it's obviously political and kind of states a little bit of a direction. But
Yes.
So other than the fact that you would like to paint a presidential portrait
Which would
because
be
you
awesome.
are an amazing portrait painter.
I do spend a lot of my time painting portraits.
You do. Now, but also, I mean, there's been a lack, probably, or I would suspect a great majority of presidential portraits, I suspect, have been painted by men.
Yeah, it surprisingly reflects who's been allowed to be president in our country.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so not a big surprise to anyone. Almost all the presidential portraits in the National Gallery of Art, so in the Smithsonian Museum, they have been painted by men.
Yes. Now you've actually been to the portrait gallery.
Yes, and I went because I wanted to see Kehinde Wiley's portrait of President Barack Obama.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. I think I've told you this story before, but I went with my friends Janelle and Melissa, and we were waiting to get into the gallery, and there's this huge long line, and we thought it was a line to just get into the gallery, but it turned out that was the line for selfies with Kehinde Wiley's portrait.
Interesting.
But we wanted to look at the painting, so we got to the front of the line, and we're looking at the painting because it's gigantic, and he paints on that grand scale, and he has all that vine work and filigree plant work filling up because it's a reference to art history and so forth. And we wanted to look at it, but there were people behind us who were kind of like, hurry up, we want to take our selfies.
We want to take our selfie. Yes. I mean, that kind of, I suspect it works a little bit better than, like what I've seen with the large crowd at, say, the Louvre who are trying to take selfies in front of the Mona Lisa, which is this little postage stamp off in the background.
It's not that small.
Well, I know, but still, the distance that they're kept from it.
Oh, yeah, because it's encased.
Yes, but you'll see like this huge crowd of people who are not actually looking at the painting.
Yes.
They're looking away from the painting, trying to get a selfie of themselves. So, I don't know, I always find that a very comic view of the world.
I love that, though.
Okay.
I mean, if you are familiar with my Instagram page,
well, yes,
you'll know I do take a lot of bad selfies.
Yes, and I get to be involved in some of them, which is entertaining.
Well, that's because I enjoy spending time with you.
Aww.
And want to just, I don't know, show off my handsome husband to the internet's world. But anyway, so the National Gallery of Art,
yes,
the Portrait Gallery, does not have very many works of art created by women, especially in the presidential gallery. I'm trying to think of artists who have painted the presidential portraits, and there's only one that I could think of offhand, and that is Elaine de Kooning, who painted John F. Kennedy's portrait.
Right.
But other than that, it's a very small representation.
Right.
Which is, disappointing because, I don't know, women make up like half the people in the country. And actually now, the majority of people who earn BFA and MFA degrees are women.
Right. But how many of those actually go on to work in their field? Or I should say work, or perhaps
get paid the work?
to work in their field.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right.
So anyway, back to the Vote for Biden so my friend Claire can paint his presidential portrait campaign. I want to, of course, I'm always raising awareness of people who are lacking representation in gallery and museum settings.
Yes.
But then also, I really want my friends to vote for Biden.
Yes.
And with the last presidential election, it was hard to talk about politics with some people.
And it still is.
It is. And I feel that a lot of people were scarred from the last election because if they talked with their friends or their family and their friends and family didn't agree with them, there's a lot of name calling and screaming and shutting down. So I wanted to make
and that never happened at Thanksgiving at all. Actually, no, it didn't really ever happen in my family. But I'd hear stories.
You have a nice family.
Yes, I'd hear stories
You're a really
from
nice
other
family,
families.
so
Yes.
that doesn't happen. But I have a lot of friends that have a difficult time talking about politics with their families and some of their friends and their colleagues. But we should be able to speak about politics.
We should.
And not be afraid of the backlash we might receive if we don't agree with the other person.
Yes.
And so I wanted to make a lighthearted way that you could introduce the topic of the upcoming presidential election and be able to share something that would probably like catch someone off guard. Like in my serious artwork, I do a lot of humor in it because it helps invite the conversation.
Right.
So if someone is talking with a family member or even just making a post on Facebook and they're talking about politics and they're like, I'm going to vote for Biden. And they get the, why are you voting for Biden? Because a lot of people just dig in and are very combative, but they're like, hey, I'm voting for Biden because my friend Claire thinks that if he's elected, she'll get his presidential commission.
Yes. So it's an excuse for some people to use.
Right. So it's just a way to broach the topic. And then if their friends or family are receptive, then they can go into a deeper talk about like the Supreme Court and all these other things and, pandemic and healthcare and education and global climate change and all these other really, really important things. But for some people, they can't get in those deeper topics. So I wanted to have like a lighthearted way to introduce the topic. And then just also a side note, because it is vote for Biden so my friend Claire can paint his presidential portrait. I know this is not how people typically get presidential commissions.
Right.
I mean, they didn't have Instagram back in the 1800s.
No, none of that. And usually, I mean, it's not to say a thing that the more well-known, perhaps, or should we say commercially well-known, in the
more
sense
collected.
Yes, I mean commercial
people.
in the sense of their work being considered investment property.
Yes. Well, then if everyone uses this hashtag when they are posting like anything political, anything patriotic,
Yes.
post your yard sign. I don't know, post photos of your cats. I don't care. But use my hashtag to help raise my profile.
Yeah.
Because then my artwork becomes more collectible. And then I get more. I could be the first person to get a presidential commission based off of a hashtag.
It's true.
And you could be part of it.
Perhaps.
You can help me out and be part of it. Do it. I mean, if you want to.
Yes. And it's kind of fun that, especially with like the hashtag thing, especially, it's the way that, those of us who are like trying to do promotional stuff and working on, promoting our our art or whatever on social medias, the social medias is the the idea of hashtags to show up on certain searches to where you end up getting like this paragraph of them in a side comment to get these tags going. So it's something that kind of gets lost in there, and it's really not until sometimes when you take the time to go search people's like actual hashtag lists, is like you go, what is that?
Like when you sneak
well,
a
I gotta
funny
check
one
that
in.
out. Yeah.
So I don't know, post anything between now and the election.
Yeah.
And use my obnoxiously long hashtag.
Yes.
Because I would appreciate it. And then also I can see your posts too, and then like and add them to my stories and comment. And yeah, let's just all get famous.
Mm-hmm.
Let's influence the world. Let's make the United States a better place.
Vote is really important. That's kind of like one of the more important things.
Yes,
here.
and then
Just vote,
and then also too with the last election, there was so much apathy I witnessed where people are like, my vote doesn't matter. Well, the person I'm going to vote for isn't going to win anyway. I live in this state and it never goes the way I want. But if everybody who had that attitude registered and voted, it could make a difference. It could change. And then it's not just the presidential election. There are all the other ones too at the local levels.
Yes.
That are also really important, but if people aren't behind a candidate and don't have something they're excited about. So my hope is to get people excited, even if it is just for a silly internet thing. Sometimes that can be very motivating.
It can be. And and it's especially with the more local elections. I mean, the amount of young people who are actually stepping into the ring to get elected is actually kind of impressive from what I'm seeing, and especially kind of around here locally, we're seeing that as well. So, I mean, check it out. The election process can be a little bit more engaging for you than perhaps you think if it's not something you've got involved with.
Right. So, just really important. Register to vote.
Yes.
And then actually vote.
Yes.
And then, if you want to make my day, vote for Biden so my friend Klaire can paint his presidential portrait.
All right, let's say that one more time.
Okay.
Hashtag
vote for Biden so my friend Klaire can paint his presidential portrait. Oh, are we doing thumbs up?
Sure.
Is this how we're ending it?
All right. It's on 3. 1, 2, 3.